These are neat. These are like little digital.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot smaller.
Wow.
They used to be, you know, the microphone and the big flashers. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start. You know, how has it been so far, and how have you seen the movement grow out here?
Well, the paddle has been phenomenal. I mean, to get 60 people out in the water, give up, you know, a week of their life to come out on this, it's a real symptom of how people feel about salmon. You know, salmon belong to the people. It's not just about salmon. It's democracy, our future. It's our world. Yeah. People are really rising to this, which is fascinating.
And I'm sorry, did you go to the Cohen Commission, the Cohen Inquiry on the island? Was that? Have you
no, I'm a participant of the inquiry, so I didn't go to those hearings because he was going to hear from other people. He's been hearing from me already. So I'm the Aquaculture Coalition within the inquiry, so it's my role to make sure Justice Cohen knows everything he needs to make a decision about whether salmon farms are harming the Fraser sockeye.
Okay.
And so we've made application to him to get all the disease records on these farms, because the pattern of how these sockeye have been declining, with the ones that go out the bottom of Vancouver Island, they are doing very well. That's the Harrison, which we just went by. And the ones that are going north, they're the ones that are collapsing. There's DFO research that has not been published saying that the Fraser sockeye are being challenged with a new virus. All of these things make me very concerned about the disease in the salmon farms. And so we've asked Justice Cohen to demand from the salmon farmers 18 years of data, all the farms that the Fraser sockeye go by. That's the only way you can truly answer the question. So far, they've been stonewalling us. They've said, no, you can have a couple of years, but we'll clump it all together, and that just isn't going to work. So I've been engaged in many government processes that were focused on salmon farms. Now, I know the Cohen Commission's not focused on salmon farms, but my role within the Commission is to make sure he has enough information on the salmon farms. And so I have seen so many times this process go sideways, where even if there is a good decision, it doesn't get enacted on. For example, you know, move the farms off the migration routes, move the farms out of the water, make the disease records transparent. All of these things have been requested in the past and failed to, nobody's acted on it. So this time, my feeling was, okay, Justice Cohen has a very, very difficult job. We're going to support him. And people don't like to just show up unless they feel that somebody is worth showing up for. And so that's why yesterday I went through Hell's Gate on a raft with the Fraser Ribbing Rafter folks.
Yeah, I heard that must have been a good
I'll
time.
never do that again. Those guys are amazing, but I'm not in that way. And then we're doing the paddle. And we really want people to, if you put a lot of yourself on the line, people understand that it's important. But Don and Anissa and I just spent since the 30th, traveling all through the Fraser watershed, and I've met so many people who are standing on guard for these fish, just instinctively. You know, they're not even profiting from it. First Nation communities, 1,000 kilometers up the Fraser, up Takla Landing, up another, you know, Driftwood Creek. It's remarkable how people feel about this fish. So some of them are coming as well. It's a movement.
So beyond the fish farms, are there any other issues that have really struck a chord with you? Any other probable reasons as to why numbers are fluctuating so wildly?
Well, there's definitely some death by 1,000 cuts going on here. Everywhere as we went, we found out about dams that haven't been taken out properly. We've pesticides that are going into the watersheds, developments right on the Adams River spawning grounds is like unbelievable. It's berserk, really, in the true meaning of the word berserk. And all of those things need to be dealt with, but I think those are little things, because if it was those things, one or two of the runs should go down, but the pattern we have right now is all the runs that go by the salmon farms are in decline, which is the pattern around the world. And so what the scientists say to me, because I don't study sockeye, I do pink salmon up in the Broughton Archipelago, But they brought me on board last winter for a number of sockeye meetings because I'm an expert in aquaculture impact on salmon. And I've published 10 papers on the impact of sea lice from salmon farms. And so what they're saying is there's some new variable that's come online that they can no longer predict these fish. They're embarrassed by that. You talk to guys in Alaska, the predictions are very solid there. You do water temperature, food, how many of the juveniles went out, and you've got a pretty good feel what's coming back. But here in Canada, British Columbia, that doesn't work anymore. And so that means there's a huge factor that is impacting a lot of fish. And so what's happening is these farms just release effluent, and all of the Fraser sockeye are going through it. It's like running sheep through sheep dip. Every last one of them is passing farm effluent over their gills, except the Harrison, which are going out the bottom end of the island, and they've been on a steady increase over the last 18 years. So there's a lot of issues that need to be dealt with, that can be dealt with, but this one is a slippery one because those companies just will not release their disease information. They've been a closed shop. And so my whole focus for this is to get us down the river, land in Vanier Park on October 25th at 9 in the morning, and walk with thousands of people and say to Justice Cohen, we support you in this very difficult process that you're involved in, and get those disease records, and let's have a look at what's really going on.
Okay, so my last question then would be, if you're throwing your support behind the Cohen inquiry, how confident are you that recommendations are going to come out of this that will actually make an impact?
I guarantee you if the public's not behind this, there will not be good recommendations. The public really has to show up, and that is really true across the board with all political decisions. But he's doing his best, but he's really in there. He's in some stiff-tied, hard currents. They're pulling and tugging at him in all directions. He's going through Hell's Gate himself right now.
Do you think a change of government is going to change anything?
No, we got all these farms with the NDP. So I don't understand the relationship between the Canadian government and the Norwegian salmon farms. There's something just wrong there, because every time you try to deal with it, and all we've tried to do in the past is just reason with it. I'm from a little community on the Central Coast. Salmon farms came in and we were told it was going to be good for us. There's now 9 people left in my community. The school is closed. There's 27 enormous feedlots there. They don't buy gas there. They don't hire local people. The First Nations have said zero tolerance. No, we don't want you. They just ran over all of us, and now they're sitting there operating on expired tenures. There's a sense of lawlessness about this. And there's many issues that people need to engage on. This is just the one that came into my home, and I'm really just a woman defending her home. This is a volunteer effort for myself and Don and Anissa, all of the people that are driving this. We make our money selling these T-shirts. That's how we survive. It's, Chief Marilyn Baptiste is with us. She's saying she will die for her lake. Now that's a different issue, but that's the level that we're at. I feel like Martin Luther King and Gandhi told us how to deal with these kind of issues. If the government is not serving the people, you need to rise up and peacefully, powerfully have your presence be seen. And that's what we're doing here.
Do you think there's any way to make the fish farms become more transparent?
Well, Justice Cohen is the only one at the moment that can do this. DFO has proven they will not do it. The province will not do it. I mean, we've been working on them for 20 years. Now, fish farming just belongs on land. You can't have a feedlot situation and run wild animals up against it. We know that with birds. We don't let wild birds into chicken farms. The avian flu scare really taught us about that. We don't let wild buffalo and deer run through cattle farms because of that bovine tuberculosis. Fish farms just upset the natural balance. They break the natural laws. They have to be separated from the natural environment. We're in the middle of a perfect miracle here. These fish that made it back this year. Something went right. Now, if we knew what that was, what the difference between last year and this year was, we'd be done. But we have no idea. We're running blind on this was a $500 million fishery. And now these animals are moving 50 million kilograms of nutrients up the Fraser watershed. They are an incredibly productive, rich we're so lucky to have them. The city of Vancouver should be called the city of the salmon. I mean, those fish have swum through Vancouver twice. They can live with us. So I feel like they've met us more than halfway. It's time